All right, welcome back, our valued viewers. Today's topic has been titled EFCC cracks down on real estate in money laundering probe. Real estate, often seen as a symbol of wealth and growth, is now under the watchful eye of the Nigeria's anti-graft agency. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has raised a red flag over the growing use of the real estate sector for money laundering, describing it as a key conduit for cleaning illicit funds due to poor customer verification practices. On Wednesday, the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, stressed the need for developers to carry out due diligence on investors and clients, urging the industry to take responsibility in fighting financial crime. His call, named during a speech termed tackling illegal property sales, fake developers, and unlicensed agents in Abuja. This morning, we opened the floor to a timely and much-needed conversation, shining the spotlight on the intersection of real estate and financial crime. And joining us on the table is our guest, estate surveyor and valuer Ewenla Mustapha. I got it before, but I just missed it for a second.
Okay.
All right. He's a distinguished estate surveyor, business leader, and public affairs analyst whose voice resonates across both the real estate and the national policy spaces. And with over 15 years of experience in valuation, property development, and regulatory practice, Mr. Mustapha joins us today to provide an insider's view on the issue and, more importantly, how Nigeria can sanitize its real estate market and restore trust in the industry. Let's get to meet our guest, Mr. Ewenla. Got it this time.
Yes, Ewenla. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
it's
welcome.
a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us again. You're already a friend of the house, and
Yes,
I already told him behind the scene when next is coming, he's giving us our keys to
anything,
5-bedroom
anything for you guys. Anything for you guys.
All right. So this is a very important conversation, and it is quite. It's quite needed at this point in time. Yesterday, the stories that we saw about a particular political leader, elected leader, yes, that has been going through scrutiny with the whole 14 house properties across. And then we're seeing EFCC telling us that money laundering is now finding its root in real estate, the industry itself. I think this year alone, real estate has had a number of discussions.
Yes.
A number of discussions. It looks like a lot of people are pointing their attention towards, this particular sector. And it's good to have this with an expert who is there. So we're not just mumbling words or coming with hearsays.
Yes,
so my first one is, why do you think that real estate, because we cannot dismiss this claim, it's a claim. Why is it so attractive to money launderers? What are the unique features of this industry that makes it even vulnerable for it to, for people to launder money through them?
All right, good morning. Thank you once again for having me. So it is very clear to say that real estate is very attractive to, let's put it, money launderers, because of I'll put it simply, because of the high volume of, money involved in, buying real estate, if you know what I mean. But again, I think it's very important to say that for EFCC to come up with this noble idea, I think is a welcome development. But very importantly, we must understand that money laundering has been a practice in this country a very long time ago. And for the EFCC boss to come up to say, you know what, this has to stop, I think we're beginning to see light at the end of the day.
Yes.
Now, if we go to other countries, there's also all sorts of money laundering cases in real estate there. Go to the America of today, go to the UK of today. People launder money through real estate. But the volume of transactions, such transactions are very minimal. Because SENA clients, like America, for example, there's this law in America called the AMLA law, AMLA 2020 Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, because the American government saw that people were siphoning money through real estate, and they were looking at ways to put a stop to it. So the president of the day had to, at that 2020, had to say, you know what, let's come up with this act so that real estate practitioners that find or that see some transactions or that find them very suspicious can come up and tell us that there's a certain client that wants to buy this property. We cannot really confirm its source of wealth. So they can red flag that transaction, and they can also reveal clearly to them who people buy properties. For example, I can buy a property now, and use you as a front to buy a property because I don't want my name to be seen.
Yeah, yeah.
People do that a lot in Nigeria, and those are the things that are taking us aback as a country. People will be elected into offices. In the next 2-3 months, they are buying properties, they are buying estates with public funds. So all these are issues that has, deepened our corruption in this country. Look at the case of the former CBN governor, Emefiele. Emefiele, there's this estate in Abuja that EFCC confiscated, about 753 housing estates that he bought with kickbacks from Forex while he was in office. So EFCC, was able to finally, hand over those properties to, what's it called, the Ministry of Housing, headed by Ahmed Dangiwa, a few weeks ago. And those estates now have been put up for sale to the public. So all these, civil servants, public servants, is a trend. It's a trend for them to use public funds to buy properties because that's like the easiest way for them to hide such monies because of the volume of, because of how expensive real estate is.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm happy that the government of the day is finally looking towards that direction. We must put a stop to it. These are monies that belongs to commoners. These are monies that belongs to the public. These monies should have been used to develop this country. And that's why our rate of development in this country is very slow because public officers are diverting funds. So let me now tell you, so when a country like America, if you go to New York, for example, there's a law called FinCEN. That's the Financial Crime Enforcement Network. So that law enables all insurance companies in those states, New York, Chicago, I think there's San Francisco, and there's also, what's it called, about six states in the US. They said, you know what, let us have an arrangement with insurance companies such that they can red flag or tell us any transactions that goes into real estate within those states so that those volume of transactions can be monitored. And that's why even in Nigeria, we have what they call SCUMU. As a real estate agent, you must have that certificate. It's from EFCC. It's called a SCUMU certificate. You must have it because of the volume of transactions that we do in real estate. So you must have that certificate to be able to transact anything in real estate. That's how EFCC can also monitor what these monies are used for and who is buying this property, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, for us to really develop as a country, we must understand that we must be transparent. And the transparency must start from even with the agents or the developers. A lot of estates all around Lekki, truly, they are abandoned. So that's why the EFCC boss is saying that they will start going from estate to estates to find out who is the owner of this estate. Because most of them are politicians because of the volume, because it's easy. Politics money is very easy to see. It's very easy. So, and a lot of times they even conduct these transactions with cash. They don't even, with hard currency, they don't even go through the banks. They don't even go through the banks. And another thing that we must also look at critically is also, in advanced countries, the reason why fraud in real estate is easy to minimize is because they have a lot of regulations, they have laws, they have a lot of channels to monitor who is buying a property and the source of that person's wealth. It gets to a point in the UK that if you go to a club, a UK club or anywhere, and purchase anything in cash, you're going to be red flagged. That why are you paying cash all the time? Why are you paying cash all the time? Why do you have to pay cash when you can use your ATMs, you can do mobile money, you can do transfer on your phones? That's why at some point when this country wanted to adopt the the cashless policy, we thought it was a welcome idea. They came up with BVN. We thought it was a welcome idea, but with this cashless policy, with these BVNs, corruption in frauds in real estate, in all other sectors is still thriving. So it shows that we have some defects here and there. And if EFCC is coming up with this global idea, I think that we should encourage them and make it, we as practitioners, we are ready to collaborate with them. I know a certain client that will tell you, if I don't know the source of your wealth, I'm not going to sell my property for you. It's only when we want to do rental, when you want to rent apartments, that a lot of people conduct due diligence. But we have gotten to stages where even if you want to buy, I must know where your source of money is coming from. So you don't come and buy with fraudulent money. And at the end of the day, you are also part of that fraud as a seller.
Yes.
if anything goes wrong, you're also part of that fraud. So I think is a welcome idea.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mustapha. So, the question I want to ask, I mean, you talked about, you know, the vetting process of your clients. You mentioned it already. So let us talk about, you know, when it comes to government officials, now, because we've had different stories about money laundering, different amounts. You have Ahmed Idris, you know, about 80 million naira and the likes. So my question, you know, what I want to ask you is that what do you think should be the check and balances on the side of the government? Because you mentioned Godwin Emefiele. So what should be the, you know, the checks and balances on the end of the government? Because sometimes you might not even be able, you might not be the contact to these people. It might be another person that is on the, you know, the front end, but another person is at the back end doing it. So what should be expected of the government, you know, when it comes to their own checks and balances?
Yes. So you know, for civil servants or public office holders, one of the things required of them is to do what they call asset declaration before you assume office as a public servant. So we've seen over time that that is also defective, because a lot of these politicians or public office holders do a sort of under-disclosure. They don't fully disclose what they have as at the time of assuming the public office. So that's why it's difficult to actually trace what belongs to them and what doesn't belong to them. And also, another place I think we're going to as a country is to also do asset declaration even after office. Let's know what you came into office with. All of us.
What you're living with.
And let's know what you're living with. So it's easy to say, I mean, how much is the salary of a commissioner? How much is the salary of a minister? How much is the salary of a governor? How much is the salary? So let's know all these things. So if we know, if an audit is done, okay, when you entered office, you have 2 properties. And after office, you have 20 properties. That means you've siphoned money. It's easy to know, because how much is your salary? People have, a lot of politicians all around the country have properties worth billions. Where is the source of their wealth? So all this, so is even somebody who is an illiterate can tell that these monies are public funds. So if EFCC is now trying to say, let's sanitize this sector, let's know, because this is the honest truth, real estate is very easy for fraud. It's very easy for people to use money, to invest money in real estate, because of, like I said, the volume of transactions involved in real estate. A property in this Lekki, one single property can worth 1.5 billion. Just one duplex can worth 1.5 billion. So not to talk of estates. Those estates are sometimes they're in trillions. If you want to know the current market value of those estates, some estates have more than 2,000 housing units. I know one estate in Lekki here that has 5,000 housing units. So who are the real owners of these estates? We don't know. Who are the real developers? We don't know. We just see one young man fronting. Most of them belong to politicians. Most of them are funded with public funds. And that's why we were saying that if this country is really going to move forward, we must put a stop to corruption. Our public office holders must be accountable. So there must be asset declaration. That asset declaration must be scrutinized properly. We know, I mean, when Buhari was alive, the late president, may so rest in peace, he was saying it, that he had only one property. And even till after office, I'm sure what he had was not even, because he was not really particular about worldly things. He was a very, upstanding man. Yes, those around him might not be 100%, transparent, but he was a very upstanding man. Everybody knew what he had. But a lot of politicians these days have properties that I don't know where they're taking it to. I don't know where they're taking it to, and the honest truth is that all this is telling on this country. All this money that's supposed to be used to improve roads, improve life of citizens. But when you as a politician, you've siphoned billions of money, how is this country going to thrive? How is the country going to thrive? Right now, there's economic action. People are angry. People are hungry. But politicians are enjoying. So we must ensure that so I like that agencies like EFCC is coming up to say, let's take the bull by the horn. We must put a stop to this. And that's how we can really experience true development as a country.
All right, thank you. Before I allow Goodness to ask, we need to take a very short break. And when we come back, Goodness will lead the next question. So our viewers, if you have questions as well, drop them on our YouTube page and we'll respond to every one of them. Thank you and stay with us. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back, our dearest viewers. We're still discussing the EFCC current probing of the real estate industry and money laundering. And we've been joined by an expert in the real estate industry himself, shining light and spotlight on this particular conversation. I would give Goodness the opportunity to ask her question to our guest.
All right, thank you so much, Oluchi. So first of all, one thing I like going straight to it is looking at what the EFCC have done so far.
Yes.
So in the fiscal year reported earlier in 2025, the EFCC achieved a record-breaking recovery of nearly $500 million, including seizure of 975 real estate properties, underscoring how pervasive real estate laundering is illicit in economics. Yes. And from what the real estate, as the EFCC chair say, most abandoned estates in Abuja were built by corrupt civil servants. Yeah. Yes. From your professional vantage, how does this assertion affect public trust in real estate investment?
Well, so no doubt, public trust in this part of the world is broken.
Okay.
The public don't have any atom of trust for public office holders. Maybe few public office holders are very transparent and very upright, but majority of them, in the course of our time as a people, since we got democracy, since this country got independence, we've seen what our public office holders have constantly continued to do. Accountability level is zero. People assume offices, people, and what they're actually elected for is not what they're doing. They're not accountable. Public funds is supposed, like I said, is supposed to be used to develop this country, develop roads, develop housing, develop, the livelihood of citizens. But we've seen that the people at the grassroots are not actually experiencing that true development. And that's why we're saying that if EFCC, make sure that this new law becomes implementable, and they ensure full compliance to ensure that there's no what's it called? They are really true to themselves. Then I think it's going to reduce corruption drastically, because most of these funds, like I said, is very easy. Real estate is the most easiest place to put them. Also looking at the rate of appreciation of real estate. For a public officer who has stolen 1 billion naira and he puts it on real estate, before he leaves office in 4 years or 8 years, that 1 billion will have multiplied to like close to 5 billion. So he knows that even if he leaves office, even after office, he's still settled. Mm-hmm. He still has a lot. He still has a lot. Look at what is happening with the past governor of Kogi State. Yeah. At some point, we heard that he paid school fees for his children in advance. In the schools that even in a semester that they've not even gotten to, he has paid in advance with public funds. So all these are issues.
It's not all
these are the reasons why we are where we are as a country, because of our leaders.
But this leads to this question from what you said now.
Yes, please.
Don't you think what is currently happening will also cause a dent to the real estate industry? Because you can't tell me that the governors who had laundered money to invest in real estate and the people who are the real estate don't exactly know that this money is not genuine.
So I totally agree with you. So the real estate practitioners are not 100% saints. Okay. Just like we have those who are upstanding, who are true to their job, we have a lot of people who are not also true. Because as a realtor or as a developer, you know the person coming to buy this property from you is a politician. So automatically, we're not saying that politicians cannot buy property. But when a politician that earns 100,000 naira monthly as a commissioner or a governor that earns 500,000 naira monthly salary is buying a property of 2 billion, so where is he getting the money from? That tells you that the money is using to buy that property is people's money. It's public funds. So I know that real estate practitioners, we have a lot to do. And that's why I'm saying that going by, we must follow the templates of countries like the UK, countries like America, where you can, even as a realtor, if you have found one thing, if you don't do due diligence on your prospective buyer, you will also be part of that crime and you will also be jailed. So there must be consequences for all these things on the part of even the realtor must be called to book, and the perpetrators and the front, people who will send governors or whatever, or politicians will send somebody, go and buy this thing in your name. So when after office, they have a way of turning tables or changing documents to such that the interest reverts back to the actual owner, who is the public, who was the public servant while in office. So there must be consequences for this to actually thrive. For this new law by the EFCC to thrive, there must be consequences for all the parties involved in that racketeering once it is discovered. But I know that as a country, Nigeria is still a developing country, but we must develop. Our rate of development is such that we are taking one step forward, 10 steps backward. Because if we implement policies and we don't do enforcement, then it's going to be taking us aback as a people. You understand what I mean? So if you implement these policies now, and another thing that also takes us aback as a country is when we do eye service. When we do eye service, so as EFCC boss, if these intentions are actually genuine, let us call and you do your investigations, and you find anybody wanting, whether they are friends of EFCC or they are friends of the current administration or not, whether they are in PDP, whether they're in APC. Once you can be accountable to call everybody to book, then we can actually see that this policy will work. But in a case where somebody who does not belong to APC will now be haunted, because will not be the people that will be haunted by these laws, and you now exonerate APC members, then that's a waste of time and a mockery of this entire process.
All right, thank you so much. So this question is really opening up as I envisaged, and I'm very happy that we're taking this route. But there are some things you mentioned earlier that I want you to open up more, because I think that to launder money, to be a criminal, is a mastermind job.
It's a big job.
It's a very intelligent
and it takes somebody who is also brilliant
to actually do that.
Yes.
So you say things like, the investors themselves or the real estate experts should ask questions, or should figure out how these people get this money. But what of these people that launder this money? What if they've had other sorts of laundering as well? Probably they had other businesses that they have put their money into, and so that is almost like the claim to tell you that this is where I'm bringing this money to now launder another one in real estate. So I really want to know how that due diligence works, and how we can separate the real investors, the sincere ones, the people actually making their money, from those that are trying to exploit the system. So
let me tell you something. So money don't grow from the ground. So any money you have in your account you must have made it from somewhere, from a particular business. And the money there must be a channel of transfer. So for example, as somebody wants to buy real estate, you say you own a business. What business do you own? That business, of course, must be registered, whether it's registered here in Nigeria or abroad.
Even if they bought the business from a legitimate
they must be registered. So once that business is registered, that's why we have Corporate Affairs Commission. So once that, and you can easily run a search on that complaint. We've had cases where people want to buy property. A certain client was going to buy a property from me in Ogudu, sometimes two or 3 months ago. The complaint that was sent to me, that the man said he owns the complaint. He gave me a CAC. He gave me a CAC certificate. His name was not on the list of directors on that CAC. And I'm like, how can I link this complaint to you? You are saying you are the owner, but I can't see your name on this CAC search. So there and there, I knew something was fishy. So if realtors or developers can imbibe this pattern of due diligence, do extend your search to the CAC, know who are the directors behind that complaint. So in a case where somebody named Jide, for example, is coming to buy a property from you, and he gives you a CAC form, for the CAC form, and you extend your CAC search, and you don't see any Jide on that CAC, that tells you something is wrong. So the person now needs to tell you, and immediately you have to flag it. You have to inform the agencies involved, the police or the EFCC, that something is wrong. But in this country where all of us we like to cover up.
They're also going to be committed.
And because this agent too, they want to make money. And let me now tell you, so I think this problem is very multifaceted. If you look at the genesis of even where some genuine developers get source of funding for their real estate from, a developer who has gotten money from bank at interest rate of say 30%. As soon as you get that money from bank, the loan starts running. This developer is developing 1,000 housing units, and he has 12 months to sell off that estate. The bank is already counting the loan, is already paying every month with interest. And this man sees somebody coming with billions to buy like to buy like 30 units from that 1,000 units. So please, how is this man going to do? How is he going to do due diligence? Because he wants to sell and start to pay your bank. So I think so. The problem is very compounded. It's interconnected. So, but then that's why I'm saying that until we get to a stage in this country where people can buy properties with mortgage, where you can spread the payment for 10 years, 20 years, that's when we're really going to experience true development in this country. But somebody who is earning salary, even private sector, a private sector person working in a bank, how much is the salary of a banker? Let's even say a branch manager earns 300,000 naira per month. And this branch manager of a bank is buying a property worth 500 million. Where is he getting the money from?
Forex.
So let's even forget politicians. Where is he getting the money from? So somebody who has a private business, his annual turnover is let's say 200 million, his net profit is about 10 million, and he's buying a property of 1 billion. Where is he getting the money from?
But you know that there's this new thing called Forex. I think there was a time on this table we opened up how people are making millions and hundreds of millions from this. So probably they also invested. They can tell you.
Money.
You know, which
So
will
let me
just
tell you.
actually talk about this private, you know, so that you can open everything up
Yes.
together, which will lead me to this private. You know, I can start, you know, you hear things like, you know, Yahoo boys, you hear people into Forex and all of that. So on the sides of the people that are not government officials, that they are not government officials, now that we have private people that they are raking serious money. So how do we do this for them? How do we do this check and balance? Meanwhile, it's actually, for some people, is actually money laundering. They are getting the money from illegal ways. They are illicit funds. So how can we, you know, do something about the private part of it? Leaving the government side us.
So from what you reeled out a few minutes ago, that EFCC recovered about over 900 properties. Yes. So most of these properties, I can put it to you that some of them belong to Yahoo boys, to the internet fraudsters. So again, because somebody is what's it called? It's very easy. In fact, the case of Yahoo boys and internet fraudsters, it's very easy to know that this guy does not have any meaningful job. Because when they want to buy, I've seen a Yahoo boy that wanted to buy a property from me. He saw the property and he was willing to pay immediately without any due diligence. And I'm like, okay, you know they work for this money. I said, how do you want to pay immediately? He said, bros, I'm ready to pay now, and he paid. Wow. And I'm like, these are the issues that we're having, because these Yahoo boys don't have any registered business. They just get their money from abroad, from somebody who they've scammed, and they have the money. So I think a lot of these things has to do with the bank. The bank also has a lot to do, has a role to play in this, for this to actually work. As a customer of a bank, the bank must know. That's why they do KYC. They must know, what do you do? What do you do for a living? So you are saying you work with a company and you earn salary of 100,000 naira, and the bank is seeing your account that you have 500 million. Please, where did you get the 500 million from? So it
multiplies.
So this, in advanced countries, they flag the account. That's why all the accounts, in the UK, all the accounts that you have, the government has a record of it. So when you receive one crazy alert that they don't expect, they block your account immediately. Come and explain how this money how you got this inflow. We know you earn a salary of £1,000 monthly. How did you come about £25,000 in your account in one single alert? So come and explain it. But in Nigeria, you see people earning 100,000 naira monthly, an inflow of 500 million enters the account. The bank is not doing any questioning.
Sorry, I want to ask this question concerning you stating this bank now, because it has expanded. If they are given the opportunities for the bankers to know further details about their own customers, right? How the source of income comes in. Meaning there is this inherent or lack of privacy for the customers. And we all know genuinely that in this country, not everyone working in the bank are actually very, very honest, right? And this could also lead to endangering a customer, where every privacy of the customer, how he gets his money, what kind of business, let's say it's genuine and he's earning a whole lot, a huge amount of money. Meaning this customer now, his or her privacy has been opened out. And this could also be used if the information is gotten to someone working in the bank that is not genuine. this could also endanger the person's life. So how do you think they can manage that?
So I think that according to the laws that banks are given, I don't think that that's why every bank, every account must have an account officer. So if a certain information is going out and you as account holder do not expect that information to be in the public, you must hold your account officer accountable. So see, as bankers, they have access to a lot of our informations. These days we have BVN, they have access to a lot of our information, and that's what they're doing at the bank. They're supposed to be the eye of EFCC. Because if EFCC really wants to thrive with this law, the bank must be involved. And that's why for every fraud that is committed, if you're not careful, an insider in the bank is also part of that fraud. Because if the insider in the bank is not part of that fraud, it will not be, that fraud will not thrive. Just, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's a certain level of transfer you can do from your phone. If you want to pay some certain amount of money, whatever, because everybody has limits. If you want to pay if you want to get to some certain threshold, you have to go to the banking or to fill a transfer form, and you have to put the purpose. Where are you transferring this money to? Gone are those days when the bankers used to ask that question: what is the purpose of these funds? Even when you pick up the tellers in bank, there's a purpose of transfer. But when you fill that form, people even leave those spaces blank. Some just put official, some just put anything, and the bank don't even go back to conduct diligence on that funds. That where is this money going to? And what is this person buying? And how did this person even get this money? So I think a lot of this to solve this problem, to be honest, the bank has a lot of stake, a lot of play to play in this.
From
this.
the
I think, goodness,
Yes,
I
please.
apologize. We really need to wrap up at
Yes,
this
please.
point. We've
Yes,
come
please.
to the end of the show. But, in closing, I would say that this has shown us that a lot of sectors need to be sanitized, including the EFCC themselves,
Yes.
because this can also be politically motivated, where your focus can now be on a particular
party,
or a particular party.
Yes.
So there are a whole number of things to see with this. The public sector, we've mentioned the private sector, the real estate industry themselves, the banks, the EFCCs, a whole lot of things. And my closing thought for our viewers is when property becomes the perfect cover for dirty money, we all pay the price in trust, in value, and in access. Real estate should build futures and not bury secrets. It's time for accountability to actually lay the foundation. And this is where we wrap up our show for the weekend. Join us again Mondays through to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Raise Breakfast. Have a great weekend.